Hello guys, welcome back. Loki's jealous streak has come out. I tried to make this video a couple times and he's been interrupting. I've noticed as I'm doing VR and the shine wore off for Loki, he really doesn't come in anymore. And Odin was excited like a kid in a candy store for about 30 seconds and then he decided he didn't like it, he went away. Papa Ogu does come in when I'm exercising because he believes very much in making sure one of his damn fool children isn't hurting herself. He has seen me slam my head off this table in VR, so he's like, the damn fool's doing it again, isn't she? So he comes and he watches me, and he's like, yeah, tell them about the time you smacked the back of your head off the refrigerator. I've done that. I've punched the overhead light. I've punched various pieces of furniture. I've punched my screen. Yeah, you get active in VR. So he's something about damn fool clumsy children. Anyhow, as I'm working out in VR, Papa Ogu will come in and, prove that I'm doing something to better my health. He said he doesn't want me to be like a certain person we all know who doesn't believe in exercise. He says the only exercise that person gets is waddling to KFC. Don't be that person. He calls him like he said he's him. And I'm like, Papa Ogu, don't say that about him. He's like, what? What? You know this is true. He doesn't believe in exercise. Have you seen him in golf pants? I'm like, Papa Ogu! So, Papa Ogu very much calls it like it is. And I went jogging today, and then I rewarded myself with something, relaxing. And then a little while later, I did the dancing, and I jogged a couple times today, because it's, I don't know, you're not going to see results for months, but it definitely feels like it's doing something in the arms. And so I went jogging, and I went dancing, and at last I ended it up with boxing. And I've noticed this male presence, this god watching me. And I know it's not Odin. Odin doesn't care. Odin thinks this is boring. Loki thinks this is boring. As long as Ogu knows I'm not going to hit my damn full head off the desk or the fridge, he's fine, and he doesn't watch me. But it's been a male presence, a god, watching me box. And then in my downtime, I'm going to my beach house and to Hawaii. I know I'm so damn deprived. And I'm doing all this stuff. Most of it's on Steam. That's where all the good stuff is. And, I'm doing all this stuff, and this god's following me everywhere, following me to Hawaii. And I swear I felt like my parents there for a minute, which was interesting. I didn't know dead people could show up in VR. Apparently they can. And this god was following me at a respectful distance, kind of felt like they were standing there like this with their hands behind their back, just very politely watching me and following me all around and seeing what did everything look like and seeing what the, the beach house looked like and seeing what the Steam house looked like at night and, checking everything out. And curious, but just politely curious and very curious about me, exercising. Very curious about me going on the jog, and then very curious about me dancing, and then very curious about the boxing. Very, like, wanted to see how boxing worked. You could feel they were, like, dying to ask questions. But they were just quietly observing, and in case you're wondering if you do actually box in real life, how does boxing in VR work? Not well. You can punch yourself out if you're not careful, for one. And for two, since you just have controls and this robot's supposed to teach you how to box, it doesn't teach you unless I'm not understanding the concept and I'm supposed to mirror his movements. I'm not learning anything about boxing. I just know I get to go in the ring and hit him. And there's something very satisfying because you lean back and you get your punch all set up. Well, not lean back, but you know what I mean. You get your punch all set up. And you hit him, and I'm hitting him where I'm not supposed to probably be hitting him. He has like a bar across his chest that shows you how many punches he's taken. I just will lay all of my left or my right into him, right in that area. Because his tiny little face is set far too back on his body for me to get a good shot in, so I just keep clocking him in that. And when you hit him there, if you make a good hit, it's like you can almost feel it. Your controller doesn't vibrate or anything, but you can almost like feel it. Like I've told you guys, my brain's starting to fill in sensory stuff in VR. And he flies backwards, almost hits the ropes of the ring. So it makes you feel very good about yourself. And I could feel this god watching me. And because this game's a little buggy now, the boxing app, unfortunately. And I can't take you guys in there. I wish I could. Because there's like a speed bag, and I can't work a speed bag in real life. Turns out I can't do one in virtual reality, so some things carry over. I would have to keep leaving the ring and going back in because my gloves would disappear, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? Because my gloves would disappear, and all of a sudden I would have just controllers in my hands. And he would come in, and he would just start right at my face. And I didn't appreciate that part. This is the mean teacher, this robot boxing teacher. So it was interesting because this god was following me around and watching me. And I'm trying to think who would be like a god of athletics or whatever. And, you know, automatically I want to jump to Hermes, but I don't want to make that mistake because I've often mistaken gods for, you know, other gods. And this god was quiet, didn't say a word, didn't identify themselves. And I felt them watching, but I didn't acknowledge them watching. I'm like, okay, if they're just going to kind of hang out and I can tell they're just happy to observe, I'm not going to interact. So I didn't salute them or anything. I didn't say, hey, you know, I'm aware you're there. They knew that I knew they were there, and that seemed to be enough for them. So they were just watching me work out. Which I said, I did comment one thing. I said, I'm aware of how foolish I look. Because you have a black box strapped to your head and you have the controllers in your hand. You're going psh, 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 like that, like a little bunny. I probably looked about as menacing as a bunny. I thought I'm a big heavyweight going in the ring. Yeah, I probably looked about as menacing as a bunny. But it felt like the god was in VR themselves with me, watching me box and everything else. So they seemed really fascinated, and I just wondered who you guys would think that would be, because that was interesting, because they were really, really fascinated with me boxing. They thought it was the neatest thing they had ever seen, and I'm like, okay. I could feel their fascination. They were like watching me. And I've noticed this lately, like over the last couple of days, but I haven't said anything. And Loki's miffed because Loki's bored of VR and doesn't have the patience to hang out there, but that doesn't mean he wants any other god there either. So it's going to be like some kind of VR rumble the next time I put the VR on my head or something, but I don't know. So if you guys have any ideas of who that might be, I would appreciate some feedback. So if you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.